The biggest what-ifs aren't always about history or politics. Sometimes the most unsettling question is the one that starts with you. What if your past looked different? What if the systems you quietly depend on disappeared? What if something about the way you live, the way you're seen, the way you age, suddenly changed the rules? This video runs through 10 scenarios that all land at the same address, yours. Some of them are uncomfortable in a funny way. Some are uncomfortable in a darker way. Most of them will make you think about something you hadn't considered before you pressed play. 10 what-ifs. Let's go. You open your eyes, you're 10 years younger, your body, your face, but every memory you have right now is still there. You know exactly what's coming. The relationships that won't work out. The job you should have quit sooner. The investment you ignored because you didn't trust yourself. You know the passwords, the conversations, the exact moment things went wrong. The question isn't whether you'd fix things. It's how many people around you would believe you when you start making decisions that seem impossibly well-timed. You'd seem either brilliant or unsettling. Maybe both. What's the first thing you'd change? Going back 10 years with full knowledge is a luxury scenario. Second chances, better decisions, less regret. The next one isn't a luxury. It's a reminder of how thin the margin really is. What if all hospitals stopped functioning for 48 hours? Every hospital in the country just went offline. Staff still there? No systems, no records, no equipment linked to the grid. Surgeries in progress are completed manually or paused. Ventilators that run on automated systems require hand-operated backup. I see us become triage rooms because there's no data on who's who or what they're on. People arriving with emergencies are assessed on memory and physical observation alone. The NHS handles roughly 1.2 million A&E attendances per month. Spread that across 48 hours, and you get about 80,000 people arriving with nowhere to go. The ones most at risk? Dialysis patients. Anyone insulin-dependent whose dosing is monitored digitally. Newborns in neonatal care. This isn't fiction. Hospitals have come close. Medical systems failing shows how much we rely on infrastructure we never think about. The next what-if strips away something even more embedded in daily life. The small lies that hold it together. You wake up and you physically cannot lie. Not even a small one. For 7 days. By day 1, you've already told your boss what you actually think of the Tuesday meetings. By day 2, a friend has asked if you like their new partner and you've had to pause for a very long time before answering. The polite lies that hold most social situations together. I'm fine. That looks great. I'd love to come. All gone. You start to realize how much of daily life is built on comfortable fiction. The relationships that survive the week, they're the real ones. The ones that don't, you already knew somewhere that they wouldn't. What's the one truth you'd be terrified to accidentally say? 7 days without lying reveals which relationships are real. The next scenario reveals which ones would survive something much harder than honesty. The power went out 3 weeks ago. It's not coming back. Ever. By week 1, food in refrigerators is gone. By week 2, water systems that rely on electric pumps start to fail. Petrol stations can't operate their pumps. Hospitals are on generator power, but those run on fuel, and fuel deliveries have stopped. By month 2, cities are unsustainable. The population that survives is the one that knows how to live without. Farming, preserving food, sourcing water without infrastructure. The knowledge most valuable in this world isn't in a degree or a LinkedIn profile. It's in whoever still knows how to do things by hand. What skill would matter most if electricity was gone? A world without electricity forces every system into the open, because nothing works behind the scenes anymore. The next what-if does the same thing, but just for one number. The one on your payslip. Everyone can now see your salary. Just by looking at you. It hovers above your head like a price tag. The first day, nobody makes eye contact. Pay gaps between colleagues who've worked the same role for the same time become immediately undeniable. The awkward office conversations everyone's been avoiding for years happen all at once. On a Tuesday, negotiation becomes impossible because everyone already knows your flaw. Dating changes. Friendships change. The people who are being paid significantly less for the same work, and there are more of them than most organizations want to admit, now have undeniable leverage. Within 6 months, the pay gap between men and women narrows faster than any legislation ever achieved. Would you want people to see your number? Be honest in the comments. Making salaries visible removes one of the most protected secrets in daily life. The next scenario removes something even more personal. The one thing you thought you could always do safely. A new study published this morning confirms it. Sleeping past 7 hours triggers a cellular deterioration process. Every hour over the limit accelerates it. The first week, nobody believes it. By week 3, the data from hospitals is undeniable. Sleep monitoring becomes mandatory for anyone with a health condition. Weighted blankets, too comfortable, considered a risk factor. People are setting alarms in the middle of the night to check themselves. Insomniacs, paradoxically, become the healthiest demographic. The wellness industry collapses and rebuilds overnight around sleep reduction. Companies that make alarm systems see their stock triple. The people who've been pulling 5-hour nights for years and always felt guilty about it. They're fine, annoyingly fine. How many hours do you usually sleep? If the things we trust most can turn dangerous, maybe the answer is someone else's life entirely. So, if you could live as anyone for one day, who would it actually be? At midnight, you swap lives with someone. Completely. Body, location, context. For 24 hours. You pick who. The obvious answers are the ones everyone starts with. A billionaire. A celebrity. A world leader. But by hour 6 of living someone else's life, you realize the things that don't transfer. Their relationships, their memories of how to navigate their own home, their muscle memory, their anxiety, their physical reality. The billionaire's life has 47 scheduled obligations before noon. The celebrity is being photographed eating a sandwich and doesn't know where their own kitchen is. The world leader hasn't had a private thought in 6 years. By hour 20, most people want their own life back, not because it's better, just because it's theirs. Whose life would you pick, honestly? Living as someone else for 24 hours shows you what you've been taking for granted. The next scenario shows everyone else something you've been keeping private. Your full search history is now publicly visible. Everyone can see it. Right now. The first hour is uncomfortable for everyone equally, which is oddly comforting. Turns out the things people search in private are embarrassingly universal. Symptoms they were worried about but didn't want to say out loud. Questions they thought were too obvious to ask. Names of people they told themselves they were over. The truly private searches aren't the shameful ones. They're the vulnerable ones. The am I normal searches. The what does this mean searches at 2 a.m. The I think something might be wrong with me searches that people never followed up on. The internet becomes, briefly, the most honest mirror humans have ever held up to themselves. What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever searched? You don't have to say it, just admit it exists. The searches we make in private are often the most honest version of ourselves. The next what if suggests that honesty, specifically the curiosity behind it, might be more important than we ever realized. Scientists confirm it this morning. Aging is tied directly to neurological growth. Stop learning. Stop completely. And time stops for your body. The first effect, schools become the most valuable institutions on Earth overnight. Education stops being something you finish and becomes something you maintain like a subscription. People in their 40s and 50s who let themselves coast through comfortable routines begin aging rapidly within months. The elderly, who have been learning languages, instruments, new skills, they stabilize. Cognitive stimulation was always linked to longevity, but now the link is literal. The richest people on Earth start paying extraordinary amounts for access to the most rigorous educational environments. Knowledge becomes currency in the most direct sense possible. What are you learning right now? Because apparently it matters more than we thought. If learning keeps you alive, then who you've become, through it, really matters. Which makes the final scenario in this video the most personal question of all. Who would you be if you'd started differently? A DNA test result just came back. There's a match, an identical match. Someone out there shares your entire genetic makeup and has no idea you exist either. You find them. Same face, same voice, completely different person. They grew up in a different city, different family, different school, different career, different relationships, different fears. The things you always assumed were just you. Your anxiety, your sense of humor, your specific way of being in a room. Some of it is theirs too, and some of it isn't. Identical genes split by circumstance. Watching them live a version of your life that went differently is the most personal mirror you've ever been handed. And the most unsettling question follows immediately. Which of you got the better version? Would you want to meet them? Or would it be too strange? 10 scenarios, 10 different ways the rules of your life could have changed, or still could. What ties them together isn't the drama of each situation. It's the question underneath all of them. How much of who you are is actually you, and how much is just the circumstances you happen to land in? The 10 years younger scenario, the identical twin, the salary tag, the browser history. They're all asking the same thing in different ways. What would you look like if one variable shifted? Most of us don't sit with that question long enough. These what-ifs don't let you look away. Subscribe if you want more. And the next video is a different kind of what-if entirely, one that's a lot more fun.